And thank you again for joining the Mass Higher Metro North Career Center training on the calendar and tasks. All right, so let us begin and talk about what types of Outlook you would actually be using. So some of you have maybe come to the Outlook managing files and folders and emails that I did a couple of weeks ago, or maybe this is your first Outlook class. So I wanted you to know that there's the desktop version of Outlook that's locally installed on your computer. That's called the desktop client. It is definitely more robust. It has more features. So the desktop version of Outlook is part of Microsoft Office Suite. You pay for that. You pay a one-time fee. You download it. You can download it typically, depending on the license that you choose to pay for. You typically can download it onto 1 to 3 PCs. And it has the email and tasks and all the automation as well as the calendar. Now, there's also Outlook 365 Online, and that is available. It's bundled into Office 365, any of the plans. It gives you access to email, calendaring, and contacts, but it's through the internet. So you use your computer with an internet connection and you sign in to the Microsoft Office 365 account, which is a portal which you're able to get into via the internet. Now the thing is the desktop version looks very different from Outlook 365 Online. And I have two pictures here on this slide that you'll be able to see. And I'm going to be using the top one. Today, I'm going to be using the Outlook desktop version because it's more robust and I'm able to use it to show you how to use the calendar and tasks using what we call the full version of Outlook. Now, if you're using Office 365, you might have paid for a subscription. You might have paid for that yearly or monthly. And again, you can access Office 365 through any computer because as long as it has an internet connection, you'll be able to get your email. You'll be able to take a look at your calendar. Remember, the desktop version of Outlook is locally installed on your PC, and it is part of the security of your office. So you typically use this in office setting, or for example, I do use the desktop version at home as well through my Verizon account. And yes, it's as secure as your provider. So if you're using the internet and you're using Wi-Fi and you're at Starbucks and using their Wi-Fi, of course, is that Wi-Fi protected? Is that Wi-Fi secure? And those are questions that you have to ask yourself. But Outlook in general, the software itself, Microsoft Office in general, obviously has firewalls and it has protection built into it. But of course, it all depends on the provider that you're using in order to use the software. So when I'm at work and I'm using the desktop version of Outlook, the server that it's on is maintained by the IT people here. And then, of course, we have the cloud version when we're using Office 365 Online. And of course, Microsoft is managing that through our account that we have. So we have to pay for an account and we get to use both. So again, it really depends if you're going to work and you're going to be using the desktop version, and then maybe if you are one of the lucky ones, you get to stay home a couple of days and maybe work remotely. You'll be using most likely Office 365 Online, logging in, getting your email and your calendar that way. And again, you get the choice to do both. When you have the license on your PC, you get to do both. If you're just buying a subscription through Office 365 Online, you're only able to log in through Office 365. So again, it's a little confusing sometimes. There's a lot of good information to know about these different versions. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be using the desktop version of Outlook, version 16. There's version 19 out there as well. There's versions people are using 10 and 13. Whatever I'm going to teach you today, you'll be able to definitely see that version, and most of the options are still the same from even version 10. Now, obviously, if you're using Office 365 Online, but you also have the desktop version, whatever you do in Office 365 will also sync to your desktop version and vice versa. So again, when you buy the desktop version, when you buy the license, you get the opportunity to also remotely work on Office 365. And yes, they're both synced together. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about anything else. I'm sorry because I got to get rolling and talk about the calendar, but I do want to give you these resources, and you'll get these when I do the download today. So again, I'm going to give you these files through a download at the end of this training. But there's a Microsoft Office web versus desktop apps, and what is the difference? Go ahead and take a look at that website. What is a Windows app and what is the desktop application and how are they different? Because again, there's your phone application of Outlook as well. And what's the difference between Microsoft Office desktop, web, and mobile apps? And that's a great website, howtogeek.com. That's a great website that'll show you the difference between all three. And then Office Online versus Office 365. What's free and what's not? And what do you really need? So check out those resources and hopefully your questions will get answered about the differences between the different, not only versions of Outlook, but the different applications of Outlook. So again, do a little bit of research and hopefully you'll get your questions answered. We are moving on right now, and I want you to know that we're going to be using the calendar. So obviously, I'm going to jump into Outlook and I'm going to show you my calendar. This is my work calendar. So you're getting a peek into my life right now. And I usually use a student account, but for some reason that one didn't work this morning. So I'm going to use this one and show you that I've color coded it, and I'll show you how to do that. And I have all kinds of appointments. I have all kinds of recurring appointments. I have events. I have meetings. And so you will be able to see how to do those. And I'm going to probably jump, instead of taking a look at July, we might jump over to August, September, whatever there, maybe in October, where there's a nice clean calendar to use and show you all kinds of things that you can create in Outlook. But one of the first things I want you to understand is when you're using Outlook, you're typically in the email. So here's some of my emails. Then on the left-hand side, I have a button. Sometimes it's down at the bottom. I have a calendar button. And so I'm going to be always jumping into the calendar. But just remember on the left-hand side, there's email, looks like a little envelope. There's the calendar. There's the contacts, which we call people, and there's tasks. So I'm going to be dealing with the calendar and tasks today, but every once in a while we might jump into email so that you can see how to do a few things as well. So again, we'll be taking a look at a month that is pretty clean, and I'll talk about how to create all these different things that are going to be in Outlook. The only thing is a lot of the times you want to set up your calendar before you start. So I wanted to show you that again, we're using the desktop version. We're using Office Outlook 3, not the 365, even though it's all tied in. They're considered the same, but I'm using the desktop version, version 16. And so notice File Options Calendar. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump back to Outlook. I'm going to be in my calendar. I'm going to go up to the ribbon. So here's the big difference with Office 365 and the desktop version. I want you to notice this right here, right up here. And somebody asks, will it sync with your iPhone and Google Calendars? You have to set it up to sync with Google Calendars, but it will sync with your iPhone. All right, automatically, if you have the Office 365 online version. Okay, so, and if you have the desktop version, you can get it to sync. But again, those things are a little bit beyond today's training. If I have a little time at the end, of course, I can do that. But I wanted to show you a few things about, especially those that have never used an Outlook calendar before. So again, remember there's many people on this training with lots of different degrees of skills, and we appreciate that so much. And we appreciate your questions. And if I read a question that I can answer and incorporate into the training, I certainly will. If I read a question that is maybe a little bit beyond this training, I might mention it as well, or ask you to hold off on that, and maybe I can answer it a little bit later. Thank you so much, though, for asking questions. But what this is the big difference is you're going to have a ribbon at the top, and in Office 365, you won't have a ribbon. So let me show you just for a second the difference, okay? Because you're dying to see the difference. I just know it. So let's take a look if I can show you. And here we go. This is, oh, hold on a second. I need to share, so give me 1 second. So I'm going to share Microsoft Edge. Here we go. This is what my calendar looks like in Office 365. It's the same calendar. This is what it looks like in Office 365. Notice no ribbon at the top. There are a few buttons up here at the top right, but this is not the full-blown software version. This is the Office 365 online version. And this is what it'll look like. And sometimes when you're, at a particular job, like I mentioned, you'll be working a couple days in the office and maybe you travel, or maybe you go to somebody else's office and have to jump in and take a look at your email as well as your calendar. And this is what it's going to look like. So this is the same calendar, Office 365. It is not as robust. It is a watered down version. It's an online version, of course. But we're using, let's take a look again at Outlook desktop version. See the difference? A big difference. And every once in a while, I might jump back and forth to show you the difference, but just keep that in mind. But whatever I teach you today will also apply to Office 365. It's just that you may not be able to do that off of the ribbon. You'll have to do that off of the little buttons in the upper right-hand corner. And all of the options here in this desktop version are not there. Not all of them. A lot of them are not there in the Office 365 online version. And that's why it's not as robust. That's why it's watered down, I call it. So we're using the full-blown version so that you can get all of the options, because you too might be using this in your office or this at home and then going into an office setting and using Office 365 online or vice versa. So let's take a look right now at this ribbon, and I'm going to go to File. Oops. And Options here. Now my PC, I'm sitting at my desk today in the Woburn office, and my PC is a little slow, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more patient when I click these buttons. All right, so I'm going to click on Options. And here comes a dialog box. And just remember, it's the same dialog box as I'm showing you here in the PowerPoint. All right. So File, Options, and then let's go back and take a look. On the left-hand side, we're going to go to Calendar. And so I wanted you to see that you can set up the start and the end times of the times that you work, because everyone works at a little different times, and also what days of the week that you want to put in here. So I actually don't work on Mondays, so typically I would take that Monday off, but I do want to see what's happening on Mondays, because sometimes I log in real quick when I'm home on a Monday, and I might do something work related. So I will always want to see my calendar on a Monday, but I don't really actually ever put anything on a Monday because I don't work on a Monday. But the first day of the week is Sunday. And sure, the first day of the year is January 1st. So yep, we'll leave it like that. And then we may have reminders for any appointments, and we can set up how many minutes we want those reminders to be. And then all of the other choices here. Do we want to see holidays? And let's take a look. What default color do you want to use for your calendar? And the default color is typically blue. You can have it any color. I decided on yellow. I'm going to change it to blue today just because that's a little darker color and that might help you see. So that means any event that I create in the future is going to turn blue. Also, all these choices, so you can switch from a vertical layout to a from a horizontal to a vertical. If you are seeing more than one calendar, I'm saying, hey, once I reach 5 calendars, because I might share calendars with people, go ahead and switch it to a different layout. And as you keep coming down, you get to decide on what a time zone. And there is an opportunity to work with a second time zone. Some of you may be admins, and you may work with people that are on the East and the West Coast. So you may decide to have two different time zones. We're going to talk about what the scheduling assistant is, and that's going to be important. And these things are turned on for the scheduling assistant, and deciding to automatically accept or decline any meeting requests that come your way. You can decide that. And do you want to see the weather outside and the temperature? So I turned that on, and I'll show you in just a second. So there's not that many choices when you're dealing with a calendar, and the most important choices, of course, are your work time and putting in the days you work and the times you work. And then when you click OK, you get to see your calendar. Here's the thing, though. Let's go back to the PowerPoint for a minute. You have three different views that you might want. Well, actually, I think there might even be four too, but you're going to see different views. I say three major different views that you might want to work on. You might want to work on a monthly view, a weekly view, which is considered either a work week or a full week, and then a day view. So my work week would be, let's say, Monday through Friday, or I could see a full week, Sunday through Saturday. We'll talk about what people can see in just a minute when it comes to your calendar. Well, let's just go back and take a look at the views. So I want you to notice week, month, work week, day, next 7 days, and today. So let's say I wanted to only see a week. I'm going to click on week, and you'll see Sunday through Saturday. If I choose work week, like I mentioned, you'll see in this case, because I set up Mondays through Fridays. If you want to see just today, it shows you every half an hour. And this is an hour, and then in between is a half an hour, and you'll be able to see what's happening during the week as well, and what's happening today as well. So this is today, and then if I choose day, so today is showing me today as well as the rest of the week, but it's showing me the events. And then if I choose day, here we go. Here's the half an hour time slot. Sorry about that. And so this is the day view. And so different views up here. I like the month view, so I'm going to be showing you the month view. And as I mentioned, we'll go to a different month so that we get a little cleaner calendar to play around with. All right, so you set up your options, you set up your different views, and now let's take a look down here. So when you have a calendar and you have not shared it with anyone, okay? So you've got your own calendar and you've not decided to share. I'll show you how to share a little bit later, but you've decided not to share this calendar. I do want you to know that no one can see what you're doing. They can only see free and busy or out of the office when you're scheduling a meeting or an event or a appointment. And I'll show you what's the difference between those three. Now, you can give others permission to see your calendar, to also just see the calendar or manage your calendar or see the details as well. So you can share a calendar with a team. You can share a calendar with one person. You can share a calendar publicly, basically through, if you're using a Gmail calendar, as well as you can see how to do that with Outlook. But the thing is you're basically using Outlook and it's your calendar until you decide to share. And the people in your company can only see if you're free, busy, out of the office. It's really depending on what you want to tell them, because there's a scheduling assistant that is behind the scenes in Outlook. Microsoft Outlook has a scheduling assistant. It depends on you when you create a meeting to put in whether you're free, whether you're working elsewhere, whether you've got a tentative appointment during this time, whether you're busy or you're out of the office. And that way there, that scheduling assistant, the reason why there is one is because let's say your manager decides to create a meeting and invite you to come. Now I'll show you how to do that if you're the manager. I'll also show you how to receive an invite as well. But if they're creating a meeting and all the people they're inviting are busy or out of the office, what's the point of having the meeting? So there's a scheduling assistant that can check anyone that you would like to invite, whether they're free, busy, or out of the office. You can't see where they're going, but you can see if they're available for that meeting. And that's why the scheduling assistant is so important. And that's why it's very important that we all use the calendar in an office setting. If somebody doesn't, they will always look free. And so if the manager creates a meeting and invites them, they'll look free to them. There won't be any conflicts. But if that person doesn't use that calendar, and let's say they decide to use just their paper calendar, then that'll cause conflicts, because on their paper calendar, they are busy, but on the Outlook calendar, they look free. So you have to use the scheduling assistant, and I'll show you how to do that when you create meetings, events, and appointments. All right, very important that you understand that behind the scenes, there's a scheduling assistant. Eventually, you'll see that scheduling assistant. I'll show you where it is, where you can put whether you're free, busy, or out of the office. And I'll also show you when you decide to create a meeting, how to find out if somebody's free, busy, or out of the office. So any questions about the scheduling assistant? So someone asked, where is the PowerPoint? Let me say it again, because you might have jumped in a little late. This PowerPoint is going to be available to you and to everyone. At the end of this training at 11:30, I will do maybe at about 11:25, I'll do a file transfer. And that way there, I can transfer the file directly to you at the end of this training. And if that file transfer doesn't work, not to worry, I'll be able to email this to you once you email me. So I'll give you my email at the end. And yes, everyone will be able to get the calendar. So the calendar is not visible to anyone unless you give permission, right? You are responsible for saying whether you're free, whether you're working elsewhere, whether you're busy or out of the office. Why? So that when a manager or someone else decides to create a meeting, they'll be able to see if you're available. So the scheduling assistant is only your availability. It doesn't show anyone where you are. Okay? So you can't shut it off. You might decide to not use it, but that would be a huge detriment. So give it a chance. Stick with me. By the end of this training, you'll be going, aha, I get it. Right now, it might be a little too loose for you to understand because you have so many questions. Let me get to it so I can answer your questions. All right, let's keep going. So in Outlook, when you're creating an appointment, a meeting, or an event, let's figure out what the difference is. Well, an appointment has a begin time and an end time. An event is all day, and a meeting is when you invite others. So let me say it again, and I'll put it into the chat. Okay? So an appointment has a beginning and an end, date, and time. A meeting is when you invite others or you are invited. How are you invited? Through an email. How do you invite others? Through an email as well. And an event is all day. And that's how you figure out the terminology. So appointments, events, and meetings, you can do the creating of these the same way. So notice these 6 steps at the bottom. To create an appointment or an event, I like to use the month view, and I like to just double click on the date box. Then you're going to be able to type in a subject of what that meeting is. You're going to be able to type in a location. You're going to be able to put a start and an end time if it's an appointment. You're going to be able to say all day if it's an event like a training event or a trade show. You're going to be able to invite others if it's a meeting. And when you say all day automatically Outlook says it's an event. When you give a start and an end date and time, automatically Outlook says it's an appointment. And when you invite someone, automatically Outlook says it's a meeting. Okay? So let's take a look at that in Outlook. So let's say on August 9th or 10th or whatever date you've got here open. So I'll go to the 3rd actually. Notice I have the white box here. I'm going to double click, and what's going to open up, sorry that it's slow, but here it comes, is a untitled, look at the top, event. Why? Because I want you to notice right here, the default is an event. The default is when you create something by double clicking on the calendar, an event is created, which means all day. Now watch, I'm going to take this check mark off of all day, and notice up here, it changes to an appointment. I want you to notice on the screen, invite others or invite attendees. If I click on invite attendees, automatically, what does it change into? A meeting. All right? So what did we do? We took the date, we found the date we wanted to create, whether it was an appointment, a meeting, or an all-day event. We double click. What is the default? An event all day. I can take that off, fill in the subject, the location, start and end time, and type anything I want about that appointment. Now, I do want you to notice right here, I'm just trying to give you the big picture so you get the general concept. I want you to notice when I create an appointment, a meeting, or an all-day event, am I just busy sitting in the office working? Am I working elsewhere? Am I out of the office, not working at all? Am I putting in a tentative appointment, meeting, or an event, or am I free to go to any other meetings? This is the scheduling assistant. This is actually not the scheduling assistant that you can see full blown. I'll show you it in a little bit. This is part of the scheduling assistant where you're telling for each appointment, each event, each meeting, are you free to go to any other meeting? Well, typically no, because you're creating your own appointment or event or meeting. I'll use appointment as a default. Are you busy and you just can't be bothered, but you shouldn't be bothered because you're busy, you can't go to a meeting, or are you physically out of the office or working elsewhere? So again, these things are important for you to put when you create an appointment, a meeting, or an event. Now, my best choice for me is to double click on the box. I do want you to notice though, up on the ribbon, some people prefer to use the ribbon. New appointment, new meeting. And again, if I go to new items, all day event, meeting, appointment. Honestly, if I have to think about, is this an appointment? Is this a meeting? Is this an event? I'm going to maybe slow down a little bit. So I'd prefer to double click on the date that I want and fill this in. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about, again, what are the problems before I create it? If I single click, sometimes you'll see this and see the cursor flashing. This is a quick shortcut of creating an appointment here, but I prefer to double click. There it comes, and up comes this whole new window. I want you to see that it's a window covering up the calendar. I want you to see that I've maximized this window. So this is what it looks like with the full-blown menu, what we call a ribbon at the top, and all of your choices. So I'm going to create an appointment. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the all day off. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say I've got to go to the dentist. And I'm going to go to the dentist on, let's say, Thursday, the 5th of August, and I go at 10 o'clock. My appointment's at 10:30, so it takes a half an hour to get there. I've got to leave at 10, and I'll probably be back at noon, all in the same day. Now I can put that it's going to be in Woburn, and I can put any information that I want to give myself, whatever it is that I need, a little message about going to that dentist appointment. Now, up here, before I save this appointment, I'm going to click this down arrow and say that I'm out of the office. I've got PTO time, I've got sick time, whatever I'm taking. I'm out of the office. I'm not available. I'm going to the dentist. Now, I could also say that it's tentative because, again, I can always switch my dentist appointment for something that's more important, but I've already asked for the time off and I'm out of the office. Now, forget all the other choices right here for now. I'm going to hit save and close. So I'm going to make it nice and simple to begin with so that you understand. I'm going to hit save and close. And now I want you to notice on the calendar, Thursday, the 5th, 10 a.m., dentist. Notice the purple, magenta, whatever you want to call that color. That color is the out of office color, so I can see it. Remember, I chose a blue background as the default, and I can right click on that, and I can also show that as different free, busy, or out of the office. I can also categorize it with different colors and so forth. So that was simple. Pretty good? Okay. So very simply, you double click, you create the appointment. Now, I do want you to notice when let's say the dentist calls and they change my appointment to Tuesday the 10th. I have two choices. I can double click on this event right here, which is my appointment. I can change the time and the place and the date here, or I can point to this and drag it and drop it to the 10th. Now, if the time changes, then I'll want to double click and change the time. And I want you to notice, again, it's all manual, and there are different time zones. If you take a look at the ribbon, there's no mapping. If you go to insert, you'll see anything you can insert, but it's a very simple, just simple appointment that I'm creating. No other features involved. So I'm going to click on save and close. And now I've dragged it to the 10th, and I've also double clicked to change the date. Okay. All right. If, for example, I want to remind myself of this dentist appointment, watch when I double click. I could have set the reminder when I first created it as well. I don't know if you remember, if you were here with me in the beginning, file options, and I went to calendar and set up the reminder as 15 minutes. But in this case, I think I want a day ahead of time to be reminded of this dentist appointment. So I'm going to do that and then save and close. And that reminder will be part of it as well. So one day reminder is, you can see this little box popping up. Okay. Well, that's very simple. That's really pretty much what you do when you want to create an appointment. But there are going to be times, notice this one right here, this green one, 2:30 every other Friday, there's a Cambridge/Chelsea staff meeting. So how is a recurring meeting created? So I'm going to double click on Thursday the 5th. I'm going to say, let's say Jan's staff meeting. Now I just showed you where the reminder shows up. So someone's asking about, where does the reminder show up? So maybe you're asking when the reminder is going to happen a day before. When does it show up? It pops up like a little window in the middle of your screen as long as you have Outlook opened. So the reminder will be a pop-up that shows up in the middle of your screen. All right, and when you're asking questions, be specific as you can. That way there, I get to answer your questions specifically as well. That's great. All right, so Jan staff meeting, where is it going to be? It's going to be in the lunchroom, let's say, 6 feet apart with masks on. And let's say I'm going to start this on, oh, so this is not an all-day event, right? So it's going to be a Jan staff meeting. It's going to be recurring meeting. Now, remember, I haven't shown you meetings yet. So keep in mind, this is going to be, let me do something a little different. Let me do an appointment instead, okay? So let's say I have a client and instead of doing the staff meeting right now, I apologize, I'm going to back up a little bit and first do a meeting, excuse me, an appointment instead of a meeting. So I'm going to do lunch. You might still think that's a meeting. So how about a client phone call? And we're going to do that client phone call in the office. And it's going to be starting on Thursday the 5th. And we're not going to worry when it's going to end, but it is going to be 8 to 8:30. And notice when I come up to the ribbon, it's going to be a recurring appointment. So notice up here it says appointment. It's a client phone call, 8 to 8:30 every Thursday. So I'm going to hit recurrence and notice the dialog box that's going to pop up. So it's 8 to 8:30, it's 30 minutes. It's going to be weekly. It's going to be on Thursdays. But when will it end? So let's say that I decide to click on End By and click this down arrow. And let's say it is going to end in October or November, wherever I want. And I'll do it for September. And let's say it's going to end September 30th. I click OK. Notice what it says right here. Recurrence. This is going to occur every Thursday, effective 8/5/2021 until 9/30/2021, from 8 to 8:30. Okay? So I may put some notes here, of course. Now I just want you to realize that I'm going to be in my office doing this recurring meeting. So I'm going to make sure that everybody knows on my calendar if they want to create a meeting with me, I'm going to be busy. And again, it's recurring from 8 to 8:30 weekly on Thursdays, starting on 8/5, ending at 9:30. Okay? Now I'm going to hit Save and Close, and you'll see it show up on every Thursday all the way to September 30th. Okay? Now there might be a time, for example, on the 19th of August. Uh-oh, just got a call from the client and they cannot make that phone call on the 19th of August. Now I just set it all up. Well, that's okay. All I have to do is find the time that I put on my calendar. There it is, 8 a.m. client phone call, and right click, go down on the menu that pops up to delete, and delete not the series, which is every Thursday, just delete the occurrence for this particular Thursday. So I click on delete occurrence, and now that one is gone, but the rest of them stay. Now you will see when I go back to my PowerPoint that again, we're using the month view. We're double clicking on the date box. We're deciding it's an all-day event. Is there a closing start time and end time? We're also deciding if it's recurring. And so here again are the choices for a recurring event. You'll see this dialog box. And if you do want to, again, take this and find a particular date that you do not want to have this particular recurring event, you right click, you go down to delete, you delete the occurrence. Now someone's mentioning that my screen looks jumbled on your end all of a sudden. So how's everybody else's screen? Do you see my calendar? Is it looking good to you? All right. If it's not looking good to you and it's not going back to clear and fine, thank you so much everyone for saying yes. And then jump out of the WebEx, jump back in, and hopefully that clears the problem. So it seems like it is an individual screen and not everyone's, but thank you. All right, so let's see what else can we do. So again, we can categorize events, but that's color coding, and I want to show you that in just a moment. And we can also talk about meetings. So let's talk about those two things. Let's go back to the calendar. So remember, you double click. I'm going to double click on the 6th. If it's an all-day event, you leave the check mark there. So maybe this is a training, and that training is all day, and I'm going to be out of the office, and it's not recurring. I'll say I would like a reminder a day or a week ahead or 2 days ahead. And it's all everything that I want to put here, I'm put. I hit save and close. This is an event. An event looks exactly like an appointment on your calendar. But the only thing is, I don't know if you can see this, and I hope you can, is that this is a different color. So you can see that it's kind of like the pinkish magenta color, because that means I'm out of the office. So whatever, because I'm out of the office the whole day changes the color. Same idea if I'm taking a vacation. So let's say I'm going to delete that just for a second. So hold on. So let's say I'm gone the 14th, 15th, and 16th. I'm out of the office. I'm going to take a vacation. Let's take a look. I double click. It's an all-day event. It's a vacation. It's going to be 9/14. I'll hit the calendar here through 9/16. The vacation. Nothing else I need to fill in. I click save and close. And now, oh, what did I do? You see this white box? I said that I was free to go to any other meetings during my vacation. Uh-oh. Watch, you just double click on the gray. You come up here and you say what? I'm out of the office on my vacation. I hit save and close, and now it's pink. I'll go off of it so you can see it's kind of that magenta color. Magenta means I'm out of the office. Now, if I don't like gray, I can color code this, and that's what we call as a category. So let me show you that in just a second. So again, a single event all day, a recurring appointment, and in August, I put a dentist appointment here as well. What do you think so far? Again, we'll do meetings shortly, but just want to make sure that you know how to put in appointments and events and make any changes by double clicking if you need to. All right, now if I wanted this to be a different color because I don't like gray, let's say, I'm going to right click. I'm going to come down to categorize. And the first thing I want to show you is all categories. So you get a chance to put in different colors. Watch when I click the down arrow right here. I can choose colors that I want, and I can assign them with words or just a single word. So let's say, see vacation, I've already put that in, and all I did was choose purple and hit rename and type vacation. So now I click OK, and now that's more of the purple color. Oops, sorry, there we go. I don't know if you can see it. We're going across, it's purple, and then each date is that pinky magenta color because I'm out of the office. All right. Now let's say on the 21st. So here I am in, let's go back to August. And instead of the 21st, how about the 24th of August? If I double click here on the 24th, and the subject is going to be Jan's meeting now. It's going to be in the Woburn office lunchroom. So it's going to be a lunch meeting, so I'll take off the all day. I'll put 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. I will put bring your monthly reports. Let's see, I will provide lunch. Now, if I just did save and close, what would that be? Just a what? An appointment. But I want to invite, let's say, the staff or a few staff members to this meeting. So when I click invite attendees, that's where it changes into a meeting. You will see the word send here because the meeting is going to be an email request. And then notice the TO here. I can click on to, and I can find anyone that I want to invite. So I might put here Nancy Quinn, make her required to come. Then I'm going to look for Brendan and require him to come. And I might even put in somebody's email address that is not part of my company. So I could still put a Gmail account in here. So I could put jromano@gmail. It doesn't matter as long as I can put a real email address in. Could be a Verizon address, could be RCN, could be Comcast, Infinity, any email address. Right now I'm looking in my address book for the people that I know that are in my address book. Okay. Now I'm going to try to invite myself as well just for training purposes today. So don't worry about that, but I'm going to put my name in just for training purposes. You would never invite yourself typically. And then I'm going to click OK. And you're going to see these names here. And Nancy's actually out of the office, but I'll close that. And maybe I'll just do Brendan, but I do want to choose Nancy just so that I can send it out so you can see. But her automatic reply is popping up because she's on vacation. All right, so Brendan, Nancy, think of Jan as somebody else. So this is a meeting. It's a Woburn office lunchroom meeting. It's from 12 to 1. Bring your monthly reports. But I still don't want to hit send. Why? I don't know if they're available. As you can see, Nancy's on vacation. It pops up because she put an automatic reply. But wouldn't it be nice to know whether she is on vacation? If she forgot to put an automatic reply, wouldn't it be nice to know if Brendan can actually come to this training? And that's where, after you create, take a look right here. You click on calendar like I did. I typed in the subject. I clicked on number 5, invite attendees. I put in the people that I want to invite. Look at step number 7. I'm about to show you the scheduling assistant. Why? To see if the invitees are available. Okay? Then I'll come back to this. So let's go back to Outlook. I created a meeting because the minute I did invite, it becomes a meeting. I decided to click on TO to invite anyone into this meeting. So let's say I find Kelly as well. I can put people into the meeting at any time by clicking on 2. And I can put in the subject, Jan's meeting, and I'll just put test for training, for Outlook training today, so they know. Here it is. But before I hit send, where should I go? I go up to the meeting tab. Scheduling Assistant is in the show group. So I click on Scheduling Assistant. Hopefully you're watching carefully here because a window is going to pop up. The whole screen's going to change because I have it maximized. And what I'm seeing is all the people that I've invited. And Nancy and I share a calendar, so I can see what she's teaching. I can see, if I go to the right, if she's going to be out of the office. So she didn't put it on her calendar that she shares with me, the one that she shares with me. She put it on her calendar that she shares with Kelly, or her manager, I should say. And so if I see Kelly with these blue boxes, what does it mean? And see these lines going this way? And Brendan is blue and blue and blue. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you come down here to the very bottom, remember, blue means busy. The slashes mean tentative. The pinky, purpley, whatever color you want to call that, magenta, is out of the office. The dots are working elsewhere. No information means the slashes go to the right. And outside of the working hours means it's gray. So that's why you're seeing gray here. It's outside of the working hours. And if I scroll to the right, again, you'll be able to see. So again, that's my calendar that's Nancy's calendar. And so we share a calendar so I can see the classes that she's teaching. That's all I can see. That's all she's given me the permissions to see. Anything gray, this is a Sunday, so obviously it's grayed out. And again, I can go to any dates by scrolling. And then what if, for example, all of the people that I invited are busy during the time, or they're out of the office during the time that I want this meeting to be. I want to show you something down here. Options. Watch when I click on options. Auto pick. Auto pick means, okay, Outlook, you choose. You look at all the calendars that all the people that I've invited. You find a date and time that we are all free at the same time. And it went to August 26th at 9 o'clock. So if I'm looking at the scheduling assistant and I'm seeing that some people are going to be busy or out of the office or tentatively have got a calendar meeting, then find me the best time, and that sometimes could be a year from now. Sometimes it could be months, but it will find the time that we're all free. Okay? All right. Now, because I'm not sharing a calendar with Brendan, I may not see what he's doing. I'm only sharing a calendar with Nancy, and she only gave me a little bit of permission to be able to see certain things. So keep that in mind as we go. He has set up his calendar to be busy, and so all of the time frames, he's on vacation, by the way, and most likely, and so he's going to be busy, or maybe maybe he didn't set it to be out of the office. So really, we depend on the people that we work with to use the free, the busy, and the out of the office. And if they don't, we might see the wrong colors matching on our calendar, which is our scheduling assistant. We might see the wrong colors and make assumptions because they did not use their calendar correctly. It is possible. Happens a lot. But I wanted you to keep in mind, I want to give you a general idea of what's happening here. And so I've decided August 26th, 2001 at 9 o'clock, Could be 8:30. Let's say, how's 10 o'clock? Yep, it's free for all of us. I think I'll say 10 o'clock is going to be the new appointment. And then how do I get to see that appointment again? I come up to the ribbon and I click on appointment. So I am sending eventually a meeting request to Brendan, Jan, Nancy Quinn, and Kelly. It's going to be about Jan's meeting, Test for Outlook training today. It's going to be what? The 26th of August from 10 to 10:30. Now, I'm going to hit send. Notice, number 7, click send. What will Outlook do? Outlook will place the meeting on my calendar. It'll send an email and wait for the response from the attendees. Okay? So an email went to those people that I wanted to invite. Let's go back and take a look at my calendar on August 26th. There it is. Jan's meeting, Test for Outlook. And remember, I sent emails. So in the email, they're going to get an invite. So let's see, I also sent it to myself. I'm wondering if I'm going to get an invite. And it might take just a little bit of time. Let's say I'm going to go and refresh my screen. All right, I'll come back and take a look in a minute. Let me go back to my calendar. So let's take a look at the PowerPoint. Sorry, there are 2 number 7s there. I'll fix that. But notice, I click on the calendar. I double click on the date. I choose new appointment, basically. That's what pops up because I take off the all day. I fill in the subject and the location. The minute I do number 5, click on invite attendees, it turns automatically to a meeting. I click on TO to invite the people. Okay. And then I look at my scheduling assistant, number 7, the first number 7. I click on my scheduling assistant to see if the invites are available. If they're not available, what did I do? I went to options and I chose pick, auto pick. Go ahead, Outlook, you pick a different date for me. And then I sent the email. Now, the scheduling assistant, I have a slide about it. And this is what the scheduling assistant looks like. And this is the auto pick down here so that you can remember it. When you get a meeting request, it's going to come in your email. It's going to come into your inbox. I wanted to make sure that just in case I wasn't able to demonstrate receiving a meeting request from myself, a lot of the times it works, and for some reason it's taking a little bit longer and I want to get into tasks. So I wanted to give you the directions to open the email and accept or decline. Then you can send the response. But notice, when you accept, decline, or make it a tentative appointment, the email will disappear, but the meeting will go on your calendar and it'll become bold because it's alive. When you send an email to someone, which is a meeting request, it actually goes on the calendar in kind of a light gray. But once they accept, it turns into a bold color. If they decline, it gets off of your calendar. If it's tentative, it stays a tentative light color as well. So you can respond, and you can also send someone your calendar via email, which I'll talk about. But I just wanted you to see and be able to know how to do that. So let's check that out again. You go to a date. So I'm going to go to November 1st. You type in, let's say, again, Jan's November meeting for training only. Where is it going to be? Woburn. When is it going to be? It's going to be on November 1st. Let's say it's 8 to 8:30. Again, what am I going to do? I'm going to come up here and click on invitees or attendees. I'm going to click on 2, and I'll go find my email. And that's Jan Romano. And let's take a look at those properties for just a second. And let's make sure that that is the right email. jromano@mhmncc.com, which is good. So I'll click OK. I'll go to what? My scheduling assistant. So again, I'm just trying to demonstrate to you. Scheduling assistant. We'll see, this is my calendar. We'll see what the time is. If any of these colors pop up when there are other people, of course. We'll go down to options and auto pick if we want Outlook to pick a different time or date. Then we'll go back to appointment and click send. Okay. There's the event on my calendar. When I go to email, if I can notice, Brendan says, what is this Outlook test? It's just a test for training. I'll email him in a minute. He's just being funny. So he doesn't want to accept it because he's not sure what it is. I should have told him that that's what I was going to do before I started. So again, I just wanted to show you how it's done. So you have in your calendar, you have, hold on a second, let's go back to this slide. Appointments, events, and meetings. What's the difference? Appointments have a time beginning and end. An event is all day, and a meeting is when you invite others. And when you're inviting others, you get to look at the scheduling assistant. And that scheduling assistant allows you to see if they're free or busy and reschedule if you need to. And then when you get an email in your inbox, you'll be able to respond to that meeting request and decide whether you are going to accept, decline, or tentative. And it will automatically go on your calendar. All right, what do you think about all that? Okay. What if you wanted to send your calendar to someone? Just a copy of it. Easy enough. Take a look. You're going to create a new email. You're going to insert a calendar. So I just wanted to show you that, and then we're going to move on to tasks, and we'll be done very shortly. So if I go to my email over here on the left-hand side, I go to new email, and then I go to insert. I'm able to insert my calendar. When I go to insert calendar, I can decide tomorrow, the next 7 days, 30 days, or specify certain dates. So if I wanted to show these particular dates from 7/27 to the 30th, and I wanted to show limited details, let's say, I could click OK and watch what shows up in this email. Here's my calendar. And it shows, again, limited details about the time frames for every date from Tuesday through Friday. And that's what it looks like. And then I can hit send after I address it to someone and hit send. So they can get a copy of my calendar. It is not linked. They can't edit anything. It's just kind of like a copy and paste, but it's a quick way of going to insert and inserting a calendar and sending it to someone so that they can see what you have set up maybe for them. All right, I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back to my calendar, and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint as well. All right, talks about in this particular training how to add a new calendar, how to share a calendar. Now, because I don't have the capability of having Nancy with me today, she's on vacation, and typically I would have set that up with Nancy prior so that I could show you how we set up permissions to calendars. but I wanted to show you on my calendar, on the left-hand side, my calendar itself. If I see how I have birthdays, I have a WebEx calendar, so I can see what classes are being taught, and I can bring up that WebEx calendar, and then there are other calendars that I can show here. So I have different calendars over here on the left-hand side. So if I share a calendar, how would I do that? I would right-click, and actually in this particular version, I don't have to right-click. I can go up to my button right up here. Here it is, Share Calendar. So you can share calendars with people and they'll show up on the left-hand side. You can click them on and you can take them off as well, so you can see other calendars at the same time. So very similar to Gmail as well, if some of you have mentioned that you're using Gmail calendars. So I want to show you just tasks real quick before we end today. So I wanted you to see that in this PowerPoint, you'll get the directions on sharing. Not everybody shares calendars, so that's why I didn't want to spend that much time on them. And we're kind of running out of time, so that's why I'm just showing you the slides, and you can deal with and try and experiment with sharing calendars. All right, tasks. What are tasks? Tasks are a great way to document what you've done, what you need to do, what you've completed. So take a look in my Outlook calendar on the left-hand side. I'm going to make this a little bit narrower so you can see. You might see this narrow. Maybe I'll widen it. You might see it at the bottom. You might see 3 little dots where you have to click and find tasks. It really depends on the size of your screen. And let me take this away. And let me go to tasks. So here are all of my tasks, and I want you to notice. So Excel database training, live Word training, human resources database, all these tasks that I've completed. And notice they go on and on and on. This is a printable list. And what I usually do is I'll come in and go to New Task up here and create a task that either needs to be done or I've completed. So let's say that I need to upgrade the computer room in Woburn with some new software. And I really should start this, let's say the 28th of July, and I really should be finished by, let's say, the 6th of August. And I haven't started it yet. It's a high priority. It's not completed. And I could set a reminder if I wanted to. I'm the owner, Jan Romano. It's my task. Now I'm going to hit Save and Close. And where is that task going to go? Well, I want to show you right up here. If you go to View and you go to Change View, the to-do list is the current list of things that need to be done. A completed list is anything that I've completed. An overdue list is anything that's overdue. So I'm sorry, my computer's a little slow. Hold on a second. If I go to completed, you'll see anything with a line through is completed. If I go to do, you'll see anything that I still need to do. If I go to overdue, you'll see in red what's overdue. And typically the view is the to-do list. And then if I go to view, you can also decide to see the people pane over here and the reading pane. So I'm going to take the reading pane off so it's easier to see all the way across. Here are the things that I need to do and when the due date is. If I wanted to change that, I could. And let's take a look at the view settings. There are different views that you can put in here. And these tasks will stay here forever, and I can see the ones that I've completed. So for example, if I double click on this one, oh, let's see, that looks like, let me go to tasks here. There we go. If I double click on this one and I say completed by clicking this down arrow and then save and close, it's going to be gone. Where is it going to go? It's going to go to the completed list. So they don't go away unless you actually delete them. And it's a great way of, if you're micromanaged or if you have, let's say, a review every 6 months, you now have a list of things that you've completed. We can't remember everything. We've now documented what we've done, what we've completed, what we haven't completed yet. And this is a great way of showing all of our work. And again, you're able to go to view and change view and see the different views. You can go to home and you can click new task. You can fill out those tasks. You can actually assign a task to someone else. You can make recurring tasks that need to be done, let's every Friday. So let's say, for example, we have to clean out the fridge at work every Friday. So let's do a recurring, let's say on Friday every week. And it's going to end, whoa, it never ends, let's say, but we'll end it in September. We click OK. This is a task that needs to be done. Okay. And you could say, for example, it's in progress, it's completed, it's waiting on someone else, it's deferred. You could say that it's 25% done this week because you've done it maybe on Wednesday or Tuesday. You hit save and close. You're able to view that. So I'm going to go to change view into the to-do. And why are my to-dos not showing up? Oh, here we go. Clean out fridge. There it is. All right. And upgrade computers. There they are. Okay. And then you can double click and say that you've completed. Save, and it's gone from this list. Okay. Because you completed it. And because this is a recurring, I've only completed it for this week. Does that make sense? If I complete this one, double click, say that I've completed, close. Now it's gone. Where did it go? It went to the other view of completed, and here it is. So the clean out the fridge for this week is done, and the upgrade the computers is complete for 8/6. That's done, but it's still on my list to see. How many of you have used tasks before? Anybody? All right, good. Excellent. All right. So some people are saying never. Some people have not used tasks. What do you think? Will you be able to use tasks, everyone? Good. A lot of people are saying yes, and I think so. Excellent. Now, can I show you something real fun and quick that I think you're really going to like? Let's say I create a new task. All right, I'm going to go home, new task. And this task is going to be just Jan's, oh, let's say fill out HR training info. Okay. And I need to start it today, and I only have a day to get it done. And I started a little bit. And then I hit save and close. And yes, it's going to show up, right? When I go to view, change view, my to-do list, it's going to show up on my to-do list. There it is. Well, I can put this on my calendar as well. Watch, I'm going to take this, fill out the HR training. I'm going to drag it down to my icon where my calendar is. I'm going to let go, and I can put it on my calendar. Save and close. Take a look. When I go to my calendar, there it is, August 27th. I set it up so it would come up in orange so we'd be able to find it. There's my Outlook tasks. And I can click on it and decide whether I want to save it. It's always going to be in my tasks, but now it's in my calendar as well. Okay, so watch again. I can take a task and email it to someone, or email it to a friend, myself. I can drag and bring it down to my email icon down here at the bottom and email it to someone for whatever reason. I'm just going to email it to myself for training purposes. I hit send. So an email will go into my inbox. There it is, Jen Romano, fill out training info. And again, I've set it up in Outlook so that it comes up in red anytime I get an email from myself for training purposes. So in the PowerPoint, you'll get how to create tasks, but also shortcuts by dragging the message to create appointments or tasks to the calendar or the task icon or to the email. So you can do email to tasks, if you get an email, drag it over to tasks and vice versa. Sorry, these arrows should be double going the other way as well. If you get an email, you can send it to your calendar and make it a calendar event and vice versa. You can take a calendar event and send it to your email. You can take a calendar event and send it to your tasks. You can take your tasks, send it to your email, take your tasks and drag it again, send it by dragging over to your calendar. So when you're looking at Outlook, you can take any meeting, drag it to your tasks. So if, for example, or any appointment, let's say any email you want to take and drag it over to your calendar or drag it over to your tasks, you can. And it'll automatically create, if it's a calendar event, it creates a calendar event. If it's a meeting, it creates a meeting. If it's a task, it creates a task. So dragging from one icon to the next, email to calendar, email to tasks, tasks to email, tasks to calendar. So they are in both places at once. So when you're dragging, it's always making a copy. Okay? It's a great feature. I love that Outlook, you're able to do that. All right, I see that it's 11:26. What do you think about, here, hold on a second. What do you think about Outlook, the desktop version? Remember, if you have Office 365, it's going to look a lot different. But take a look at these resources when I send them. Look at the differences between the desktop version, the Office 365 online, and even the app for your phone. All right. Just a reminder, you're going to get these slides in just a minute. And then I just wanted to remind you that August calendar is out. So you can go to our website and take a look at the August calendar. We've got all kinds of trainings in August. And we are ready now to do the download. And what I like to do real quick before we do that download is just come back with my camera to say thank you very much for being with me today. Hopefully you will use Outlook very soon, practice it, and notice we have our YouTube channel on this slide as well as our calendar events in the URL for our events, and also my email. So jromano@mhmncc.com. Let me put that in the chat as well. Now, why am I putting that in the chat? Because mhmncc.com. Here we go. Because I'm going to do a file transfer. Let's take a look at this slide. So the slides are going to be made available to you right now by doing a download. The only problem is sometimes if you're on a phone or a tablet, that download won't work. And even if you're on a PC, sometimes the download doesn't work. So what are you going to do? Don't worry. Email me, not put in the chat, but email me your name, full name, and your job seeker ID in the presentation that you'd like. So email me today and say, hey, I took the Outlook training and I'd really like the Outlook presentation. It wouldn't download. Or just quickly, send me the download for Outlook today and I'd be glad to send it to you. So let's do the file transfer right now. Let's see how it goes. Don't jump off yet. Let's see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, I expect an email from you and I'll be glad to email you these files. Now, while I'm doing the file transfer, would you do me a favor? Would you put into the chat what you thought about today's training? Did you like it? Was it useful for you? Was it easy for you to understand what I was displaying and demonstrating? I hope it was. Are you going to practice? I hope you have the full-blown version. If not, take a look at Office 365. Most of what I did, you still can double-click and create events and meetings and appointments. Some of the other nice things about the ribbon, again, as I said, are not available. But try it, practice, whatever Outlook version you have. So thanks again. Don't jump off. I'm going to shut my camera off. I'm going to stop sharing right now. So hold on a second. I am going to put up on the screen. Your screen's going to turn a little bit of gray color. And I'm going to go find the file that I would like to transfer to you. Let me get that real quick for you. Here it is. So hopefully you can see this screen. If you can't, that's when you know you've got to email me. But notice if you can see Outlook Calendar, you're going to click on this once. You're going to come up and click on Download. Once you click on Download, you'll have to answer the question and answer it with yes, and then save. And when you save, it typically goes to your Documents folder. It may go into Downloads, but typically into the Documents folder. So I would like you to try to download so you have this file right now. You can look at it, review it, try it again, and that would be great. And also, happy to be able to, if this comes out pretty good, I'm going to put this up on the YouTube channel as well. And hopefully you'll be able to take a look at that on our YouTube channel.